Welcome back! I haven't been on camera in a long time, but hello, I'm back. So today I wanted to talk about my writing goals for the new year. So last year was a really good publishing year for me in comparison to all of the others, but it's still not quite where I want it. So for a long time I had one book done, and that's it. And then by 2022, so first book was 2014. Book 2 came around in 2022. That was a long jump. And then from there, 2023, my third book, I also published 3 books that year, bringing my grand total of published books to 5. And during this past year, I started to get really more realistic about my mindset towards writing, because a lot of people tend to treat it as like writer's block and like not feeling inspired and all of that is king, where really it needs to be dedication and actually sitting down and just doing it. Treat it like the job that it is. For some people, writing's a hobby, and if that's you, that's totally fine. I'm trying to make this my job, which means for me as a self-published author, there are so many books that are published all the time. I have to fight to get my books known and to get people to care. I'm not great at marketing. That's one of the things eventually I need to learn how to do. But for now, I'm just writing a bunch of books. And so I feel like I'll feel better about it when I have like a little arsenal of like, but look at the titles I have written. And it's just good like practice to write different types of books and just experiment, see what works. And so far I've learned that my witchcraft books are the ones I need to focus on. The fiction books don't sell very much. But my witchcraft one is. And it's not to say that it's like selling a lot. Like the tax people are gonna laugh me out the door when I'm like, but look what I did. They're gonna be like, that just isn't, okay, that's like if you found quarters on the side of the road, but sure, I guess you can claim that. Like, it's not gonna be a lot. But it is definitely more than I've ever sold. And it's still continuously like, every month or so I'll have like a sale or two pop up and I'm like, oh my god, which tells me that's where my market needs to be for a while. But I don't want to give up on fiction either. I want to write a bit of both. And Office Cat is wanting to get into mischief and check out the camera. So in 2024, my main goal is to really treat writing like a full-time job and to really push myself a little bit more than I did last year. Writing 3 books was a big accomplishment. Not everyone does that. Are they the best? I didn't think they sucked. So, you know, other people might disagree and that's fine. I've read worse books, so I'm counting that as a win. And some people don't love the idea of publishing a bunch of books. I don't know that it's necessarily a problem. There are plenty of people who write a bunch of books. They write under different names, different genres, whatever. They write a lot of books and then they're able to get the money from it. And I think eventually if I start to get a nice trickle, I could, you know, of income continuously from sales and whatnots, then I could pull back for a while. But for a little bit, like a year or 2, 3, I really want to do a lot of writing. And so one of the ways I'm doing that is my goals for this year, which is a little insane, but I want to draft a minimum of 10 books. Now, drafting means that I hit the end at least once on 10 different books. That's a lot, but basically it's gonna work out to roughly a book a month. If I do more, cool, I might get every month, but also I'm giving myself some leeway if it kind of, you know, doesn't quite fit in the month that I want it to. And so by having 10 completed drafts, with that, I would love to be able to publish around 8 of those books. Because they're going to be a little bit off kilter of like, I'm not going to write the book, all of the books, like, you know, like my January one that I'm working on, it's not going to publish in February or even March. This one actually is going to be towards the end of the year. And so it's kind of, the publishing timeline gets a little funky in the year because the one I'm currently writing, I want to publish in a specific month. I don't know why, I just feel like I have to publish it in a specific month. It just feels like that's a good time to do it. So I am. Because it is my witchcraft training book, first book, and I also want to have all of like the core 3 books that I plan to write of that done before I hit publish. So I've got those planned for the year as well, which are kind of daunting because I read so many beginner books and I'm like, how do I actually compete? I'm hoping my training book is gonna be okay, but it's, you know, it's gonna be a thing of like, it'll take some time. And so I'm planning to write more witchcraft books because they are the ones that are selling. And as much as we would love to say it's just about inspiration, it's also about money because I want this to be my job. And so for me, I need to go with what's selling, but I'm also planning to do my fiction books as well. So the amount of books that I have planned, sort of, for the year ends up being I'm doing equal amounts. 5 witchy books, 5 fiction books in this year. Now some of them I have planned. Again, the witchy books, I actually have all of them pretty much planned. I have my witchcraft training, which is going to be 3 books. It's going to be year 1, which is mostly the elements and like your circle casting, starting with deities, stuff like that. Then it's going to be the Wheel of the Year, and then the moon. And then from there, if I want to write more cool, like I have ideas of like, if I wanted to do a book on like divination and stuff like that, I can, but like that's my core. From there you can branch out into your niche topics basically. Kind of, you know, like the other book I've written, Death. Whole book just on that. And kind of with that, I do have the plan that I am going to be writing a couple niche, couple literally meaning 2, nicher topics in the witchcraft community. I want to write a book on how to keep a house. That's kind of the working title, is Keeping a Magical House. But I want to talk about like how to magically maintain your home. Protection stuff, when to do it, like throughout the wheel, like things to do to keep your house magical, but also just your basic stuff too. Like, hey, did you clean your furnace? Because I almost killed ours because I didn't do that. So, you know, friendly little reminders of some stuff here and there, but mostly keeping your house magical, you know, like having like a hearth altar and, you know, just little things like that, like having your house feel magical and like getting to know like the spirit of your house and like the land spirits of your area, things like that. So I want to have that book, very niche topic. Not everyone is into that. It's going to be more like Hearth Witch kind of vibes, but I also really like that. So I want to write that book. And then I also want to write a witchy wedding book. I think is the other one that I want to try and write this year, because I still get a few comments on my witchy channel about those videos that I made. They're not frequent, but I mean, every couple months I get a few more views on those than I was anticipating, and it's like, okay. So I decided, why not? All of the books that I had found when I was looking didn't exactly have all of the information I needed and wanted, so I want to write it. I had planned to, but it was like on the eventual list. I have a long list of witchy books on my eventual. Like I would love to have eventually a book for each of the Sabbats, and then obviously I've got the one kind of coming for the moon, but I had always planned to have like a moon book. So I've got a lot that are in the back burner of things to do, and like eventually to do like just different topics as they come up, you know, like eventually like if we have kids, because none of the books actually talk about it if you aren't birthing the child. So like to talk about pagan parenting with fostering and adopting and like surrogacy, whatever we end up doing, because there's not really any like witch books on that. It's always, look at the miracle of being pregnant, isn't it wonderful? And it's like, where's the spell to get the baby because you're trying to fight all the other parents and you're the witch parents? That's gonna make it not easy to get a kid. And like, I don't know how adoption agencies feel about that. Like, they probably can't outright say they're not gonna pick the pagan parents, but like, are they gonna pick you or are they gonna pick the Christian family? They're probably gonna pick the Christian family over the witches, you know? Even though we're very calm, chill people, and we're not even like the crazy witches. We don't have the penis altar things all the time. If you ever walked into a witchcraft shop, all the crystals, there's been wood ones that are there. It's a lot, candles. And then you've got women's body parts as well. We're not those witches. We're like, hey, look, outside, the sun, the moon, the elements. Wow. That's more of our craft, but yeah. So like, eventually I have a lot of books that I want to write on the craft, but for now, I'm focusing on my core of the 3 books to which I would feel like at that point you can start going into niche topics. And then Keeping a Magical House, and A Witchy Wedding. My fiction books are a lot less planned. I have the one that I kind of worked on last year, but I didn't finish because I got distracted working on the nonfiction one, so the fiction one got set aside. But this one is The Grave Shift. It's a somewhat kind of sequel-ish to that book over there, which is The Witch's Night. And yeah, it is the banner of Awful Book. It's fine. You can't even see it. It's a blurry background, but it exists. But I want to write that one, and then the third book that I planned for that like set of characters, I don't know if I'll continue to write in that like little town that I made or not. I may end up doing some more, but I also just want to explore like different books. Like my fiction books are just all over the place. Like I do kind of miss writing like fantasy books, but then I also like, I want to write like a romance book that's not generic in a way. Like I'm kind of tired of romance books always having to be spicy romance books. I'm a hard pass, but I want romance. I'm not a romantic. So like, give me the romance, just keep the spice away. And so like, I want one of those books, but then also I can't not have my like mythical fantasy creatures. I'm like, do I want to write a vampire? Do I want to write a werewolf? I want to do something like that. But those are like eventual plans. I really don't know what I'm going to write for fiction other than the two that I have planned, which are both contemporary books. And so I will see what I end up writing for fiction. Again, I don't have plans, but I do plan to stagger them so that right now I'm writing my nonfiction. When it moves into the editing phase, I will be writing the fiction book. When it moves into editing, the witchcraft book, the next one will be in the writing. So like it's not gonna be like every month I'm gonna get the whole book done, because like the drafting takes a month, editing's gonna take at least a month. There is one author that I stumbled across that she does her whole book process in 1 month. That's impressive. I'm not that good. I need a little bit of time. Like at least 2 to 3 months per book. But when you have them stacking, you can get more done. And so yeah, those are my plans for writing this year. Reading, of course, I have the same goal as last year. I'm doing good. Goodreads says I'm like 3 books ahead, which is awesome. I would love to be able to get way ahead and then not have to worry about it for the rest of the year and really just like take some time off towards the end of the year would be great. Ideally, I would love to be able to take like December just off pretty much, or like be prepping videos and stuff for the new year so that like eventually I can get so far ahead. Because personally, when I want to take time off is like the summer and just like enjoy things, but also I know that the time between like Yule and New Year's, nothing gets done. Absolutely nowhere, anywhere, nothing gets done. We're all just like, meh. Like, it's just the end of the year, it's dark, it's cold. And so I need to just be able to not have to worry about doing any work. No writing, no reading, no nothing, no videos, just done by that point in the year. So hopefully I can get ahead on that. But yeah, so anyways, those are my writing plans for this year. I would love to know what yours are for 2024. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon. Just finished up some writing, and look at her. She decided she needs some attention. Such a precious little baby cat.